Now that we have our database with one table in it, in our working directory inside the SQL page folder, and our connection string that points towards this database, we are ready to build our application. Let's launch the app. First, we create an index.sql file at the root of the folder, which will replace this default page. Let's reload the page. Back to the official website. The first thing to understand with SQL page are components and the two types of parameters that allow you to use them, the top-level parameters and the row-level parameters. First, a component is a small user interface element that you can use to display your data in a certain way. It can be a chart, a table, a user form, a list, some text. There are tens of components in SQL page, as you can see. To illustrate it, let's use the table component. Save the file and refresh the page. The table component has many top-level parameters, one of which is the description. Let's add a description to our table. The top-level parameters allows you to customize the appearance and the behavior of the component. Let's now add some data to our table with the row-level parameters. Let's say we want the table to display the total revenue for each day since July 2024. We need to write the query that fetches this information, and it will be the row-level parameters of the component table. Let's do it. Date is the column name for the date. Revenue is the column name for the revenue. Data stores is the name of the table inside our database. Let's save it and refresh the page. There you have it. For each day, the revenue. You successfully used the component, you added a top-level parameter, the description, and you added your data, which is the row-level parameter of the component. When using a component, make sure to look at the documentation to see what top-level parameters and row-level parameters the component has. Let's continue with another example, another component, the chart component. Let's check the documentation to see what row-level parameters and top-level parameters this component has. Let's start by giving a title, which is a top-level parameter for a component chart. We save the file, then reload the page. We now need to add some row-level parameters, which will be the data. Let's take the query we just wrote for the table. Here, the chart doesn't display anything. Let's check the documentation to understand what went wrong with our row-level parameters. Row-level parameters. The row-level parameters for the chart components are X and Y. So we need to rename the date as X, the revenue as Y, save the file, and there you have it. You have the evolution of revenue over the past 10 days. We can personalize this component a bit more. Let's change the type of the chart, the color of the chart, and add some X and Y axis name. All these are obviously top level parameters. We added some top level parameters. Another component that is particularly useful is the list parameter. Let's call this component. As usual, let's add a top level parameters. Title is a top level parameter. Our component list is ready with the top level parameters. We now need to fill it with some data using the row level parameters. What I want to display here is the top cities with the most revenue over the past year. The query for this is select city sum revenue from our table data stores for the past year. We call the list component. We added a top level parameter. The data here is the row level parameters. Let's check in the documentation how we should name the row level parameters. Row level parameters of the component list. Title is also a row level parameters because it's not the title of the list, but the title of the item of the list. So for the name of the city to be displayed in the list, I need to name it as a title. New York is the top city with the most revenue. Dallas is number 2, etc. We can go a bit further in terms of row level parameters. When we check the documentation, we see that we can add some link. Let's say we want to add a link towards the Wikipedia page of each of this city. Now, for each city, we will be redirected to the Wikipedia of each of these cities. Let's see if it works. We reload the page. Now I can click on New York and arrive on the New York page. Same for Los Angeles, for instance. Let's use another row level parameter, which is the icon, to make it pretty. Icon is a row level parameters that will be displayed next to each city. There you have it. We successfully used three components: the table components, the chart components with its row level parameters X and Y, and the list component with three row level parameters: the title, which is the name of each item of the list, the icon, and the link. We customized each of these components using top level parameters. For the table, it was the description. For the chart, it was its title, its type, its color, and the size of its marker. And for the list, it was the title of the list.